What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to see daily Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and turn the notification bell on if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. Before I get into this video, the first thing I want to say is, for some reason, my camera's been turning off randomly throughout random recording sessions. So if it goes gray, I'll just turn it back on. It'll literally take less than a second. So just if that happens, I apologize. The second thing that I want to say is that I got a comment last video that asked me to do the Ravens trivia that I do at the end of my videos to try putting it at the front. So I'm going to put it at the front. Comment down below your answer to the trivia question. But here's the trivia question. How many records can you name that Ravens have for career leaders? Okay. So if a player was, for example, the career leader for passing yards in NFL history, that would be one. How many can you name? That's today's Ravens trivia. Comment it down below, and I'll let you know how many of the ones that you were able to get correct. But that's it for the trivia. If you like it at the beginning, also let me know that. If you didn't know I do trivia, normally it's at the end of the video, and people that stay to the end, they get to hear it, they get to answer. But that's always why there's some random comments about random players and stuff like that in the comment section. But other than that, I just want to remind all of you that before the game against the Washington football team, Joshua and I will be live streaming for 1 hour before the game, and we will go live right after the game. We're going to have a lot of fun, and that's probably when we're going to start really talking about who's winning the jobs and things like that. And then next week, we will be giving our full 53-man roster prediction, which will be a lot of fun, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But that's it for the intro. Sorry for the long intro. A couple of things I had to get out there, but terms of today's video, what I wanted to talk about was Justin Houston, because I legitimately believe that he's one of the biggest additions the Ravens have ever made to their roster. Okay. I think he's the biggest addition since Lamar Jackson. But other than that, there's very few players and their additions that I can compare as saying they're going to be as impactful as this Justin Houston deal. Guys that I can think of that would, be in that range would be like Anquan Bolden and such. But why that is it's not because I'm expecting Justin Houston to come out and be like Elvis Dumervil when he came to the Ravens to just put up 15 sacks. That's not what I'm expecting. But Justin Houston's impact on this team is going to be felt not just this year, not just next year, not just the year after that. It'll be felt for the next 5 years, maybe 10 years. And that's because of his impact that he's going to have on Odafe Oweh, on Tyus Bowser, on Jalen Ferguson, and on Dalen Hayes. Last week, or I believe it was just a couple days ago, maybe been yesterday, it was reported that after practice, Justin Houston was out there working with Sack Daddy Oweh, Dalen Hayes, just teaching them technical moves and things like that. Odafe Oweh called Justin Houston like his Yoda, okay? He is the guy that is teaching them how to play the game. And when you have a guy that has one of the highest individual sack seasons in NFL history, over 20 sacks, very few players can ever say that they've had 20 sacks in a single season, okay? Very few. No Ravens ever done it. Very few players. It's up there with the Lawrence Taylors, the Deacon Joneses, the J.J. Watts. Some of the greatest pass rushers in history are the only guys that have ever gotten that 20-sack mark. Justin Houston's one of those guys. Him in Kansas City, he was a monster. Him and Tamba Ali created a dynamic duo that was feared amongst all offensive tackles in the NFL. But now he's a little bit older, but that doesn't mean that his experience and his wisdom has gone away. And I think that him being able to teach Odafe Oweh, who is a freak of nature athlete that has played limited experience at the edge rusher position. He's only gotten the 5 years of experience, but he has proven that he is willing to work hard. Just every interview that you've seen, even going back to, pre-draft process and stuff like that, he is a hard-working individual, very hard-working. So when Justin Houston gives Odafe Oweh advice, it's going to be felt. When he gives Dalen Hayes advice, it's going to be felt. If you don't know a lot about Dalen Hayes is one of the hardest working people in the NFL. And you can see that when he was like the Notre Dame Man of the Year, and was one of the youngest people to ever win the award. I can't remember if he was the youngest person to ever win the award or he was the first person to win it twice or something like that. He at Notre Dame, one of the toughest schools, not only to get into, but one of the toughest college football schools in the country. It's not Alabama, but it's up there. It's a prestigious school, a historical program, and he's out there and he was a leader. And now he gets to go to his childhood favorite team, and he's a natural leader. It's something that he's always been very good at, and he's showing that he's able to work very, very hard. We saw him doing the shadow reps behind Adafe away at rookie mini camp, like just the small things these guys are doing to try and get better. And now they have somebody that can really teach them, that knows what it takes to be the best, to lead the league in sacks. That's going to do so much for this team down the road. And then even in today's immediate impact, he is going to have an impact on this Ravens team. This team's trying to contend for a Super Bowl, and they finally have a guy that's been a proven player that can get sacks. So it's going to be felt in the short run. It's going to be felt in the long run, and it's an absolutely crucial, player to bring in. And I've talked about Dalen, I've talked about Adafe, but another player that I think we really need to pay attention to is sack daddy Jalen Ferguson. And I know he gets a lot of flack. He gets a lot of flack from a lot of Ravens fans because when you have a nickname like Sack Daddy and you break Terrell Suggs's NCAA most career sacks record, you're going to be expected to come in and get some sacks in the NFL. And that's not something he's been able to do yet. However, I think a lot of people have decided like they want to give up on him. I don't think the Ravens have given up on him. I think that the Ravens still really like what he does. He's still good against stopping the run. He's still an athletic player that can get outside. He can set the edge decently well. And I think that Justin Houston coming may be the guy that can unlock that next level of Jalen Ferguson's game. And then, in addition to that, we've got Tyus Bowser. Tyus Bowser, a Sam linebacker, and who is known for his coverage skills on the Ravens. However, he's been known to make a couple of plays. I remember against the Bengals, he had the fumble recovery for a touchdown after a sack. I want to say Andy Dalton was the quarterback in that game. But overall, he's made some plays. However, in terms of individually rushing the passer, he's not known as somebody that's amazing at doing that. However, that's something that he can absolutely now try and really work on adding to his arsenal. And I think Adafe away, and I'm sorry, I said Adafe away. Justin Houston could really help to try and unlock that part of his game because at the Sam linebacker position, that's the linebacker spot that's typically lining up on the outside of the tight end. If he does rush the passer and the tight end ends up blocking, all of a sudden you're one-on-one with the tight end. You should be able to win that one-on-one and get to the quarterback. And with his athleticism and his strength and physicality, I think that that's something that eventually can absolutely be unlocked in his game and just make him more and more versatile. Wink Martindale loves versatility. And if Tyus Bowser can start to really unlock the pass rushing side of his game, because he came out and it was like, wow, this guy can do both. He's really athletic. He can rush the passer coming out of Houston. And, he can maybe drop back in coverage. Now, dropping back in coverage, he's done that amazingly. One of the better coverage linebackers in the NFL. In terms of pass rush, he's got some strength. He's got some athleticism. If the quarterback rolls out, maybe he can get outside and get him. But if he can work on a couple of moves, and just because we know how often Wink Martindale loves to blitz different players, all of a sudden, if you start giving him moves, you start giving Adafe moves, Jalen Ferguson moves, Dalen Hayes moves, that is just absolutely crucial to this team. And then, yes, we have Justin Houston, but just the leadership that he brings and pairing him with Calais Campbell, two guys that could very well hit the career 100 sack mark this season. I want to say they're both less than 8 sacks away from hitting 100 career sacks. The leadership on that front seven is going to be felt, and that's not something that we've really had a lot of. Calais, yes, for the defensive line, has been very impactful on the young guys, Mata BK, Derek Wolfe, and such. But all of a sudden, now you got Justin Houston, and he's got the edge rushers, and then we've got Calais Campbell, got the defensive line. Now, all we need is that final piece in the linebacking core, and I think that, this very well could be the year that it's Patrick Queen or maybe Malik Harrison, or even Tyus Bowser, who's talked about that leadership role in recent press conferences this season. Overall, Justin Houston is making everything mesh together, giving the Ravens that perfect balance of experience, and versatility. And overall, I think that that's just massive in the short term. And then in the long term, if Odafe Oweh ends up becoming a monster edge rusher, which I hope he does, we can look back and say Justin Houston. And I think he will look back and say Justin Houston because he's already feeling the impacts of Justin Houston. Dalen Hayes, if he's able to become a viable pass rusher for the Ravens, which through preseason, what we've seen, I think there's a very good chance that he is a good pass rusher in the NFL with very solid coverage skills as well, a very versatile player. It's all going to come back to Justin Houston and how big of a signing that this is. And for how cheap it was, this could very well go down as one of the biggest free agent signings the Ravens have ever had. It may be the biggest free agent signing the Ravens have ever had. And it may not be known immediately. He may not come out and have 15 sacks and, lead the Ravens to the Super Bowl. Even if the Ravens win the Super Bowl, he may not be some crazy, wow, it was because of Justin Houston. He just carried the team. It may not be because of that, but his impact will be felt on this Ravens team. And I just really wanted to talk about that today because I think it's going under the radar a little bit. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content. Let me know what your thoughts are on, kind of doing the trivia at the beginning rather than the end. But thank you, everybody, for watching, and I'll see all of you again tomorrow.